If you want to know how to pay your home loan off faster, this is for you. I'm Dr. Linda Hamilton, author of Pay It in 5. Today I'm going to show you my top 5 scans. These are the top 5 things that I personally look for when it comes to our home loan. They help me to get more informed about our home loans, and it can help you do the same. Here's the secret behind every single home loan repayment. When making repayments, there's things to look for that could be working quietly against you. I'm going to show you how to spot them. In particular, you're going to want to hang around for number 4, which, if you're on a 30-year home loan plan, this could be a huge eye-opener. All of this in simple terms so you can take control and stop over paying the bank. And look out for yourself and start getting savvy with your home loan. Plus, I have an exciting new tool that I'm so happy to share with you. I've flipped the home loan calculator, I've turned it upside down, I've disrupted it so that you can get the information that you need. This new tool will give you all of my top 5 scans automatically done for you, so you don't have to do anything extra. All done for you, and it's free. You're going to want to stick around. Let's start with the most important concept that you need to know about when it comes to your home loan. Number 1, the principal to interest split. If you're in America or another country other than Australia, when I'm talking about repayments, I'm talking about the principal plus interest. The principal plus interest portion of the repayments. In your country, when you're making repayments, you could have other charges baked into that repayment. Things like taxes, insurance, that you pay at the same time as making your repayments. But today, when we're talking about repayments, we're talking just about principal plus interest. I'm not including any extra charges, I'm not including taxes or insurance or any other fees that might come in when you're making repayments. So today when I talk about repayments, repayments relate to principal plus interest only. When you're making repayments, some of that money will go to principal, so that's the amount that you borrowed, so it's paying off the amount that you borrowed, and some of that money will go to interest. And this is the fees that you pay to be able to borrow the money. So some of your repayments will go to principal and some will go to interest. The first thing to look for is the principal to interest split. And what I mean by this is looking at how much of your repayment goes to principal and how much of your repayment goes to interest. I like to look at this as a percentage. How much of the percentage of my repayment is going to principal and how much is going to interest. And the bit that we want to pay attention to is the principal. So that's the first thing that I look for when I'm looking at our home loan. How much of our repayments are actually going towards principal. This brings us to number 2, the 50% rule. When you reach 50% of your repayment going towards principal, more of your repayment will actually start paying off your home loan. So the magic number that I look for is 50%. Is at least 50% of my repayment going towards principal? I also have a rule. It's called the 50% rule, and it goes like this. If your home loan is attached to a place that you are living in yourself, not an investment, at the beginning of your home loan, however long or big your home loan is, pay more towards your principal, the amount that you borrow, than the interest you pay. Which brings us to the third scan. Number 3, the first month split. This is the most important repayment of your entire home loan. The very first one. Why? Because it tells you so much about how your home loan is designed and how it's designed to benefit your lender. Who would have thought that this one repayment could give you so many clues about your entire home loan? This is also where the 50% rule kicks in. In the first month of your home loan, the more that your repayment is closer to or over 50% going to principal, the faster you pay your home loan off and the less interest you repay overall. This is where you can really save big and really smash out your home loan. You want that first repayment to have as close to 50% or more of your repayment going towards principal. For most home buyers, the majority is actually going to interest, and it's often 85% or more going just towards interest. 85%. Let's think about that for a moment. If you're repaying $1,000 a month towards your home loan, 85%, $850 of that $1,000 could be going just to interest, just to fees. And you might think that you're actually paying your home loan off because you're paying $1,000 a month. But of that $1,000, only $150 could be going towards your actual repayments, could be actually knocking down your home loan. This is why it's important to look at the principal to interest split. Are you repaying 85% to interest? Or is more of that going to you and going to your actual home loan? If you want to know more about this, watch this video. This takes us to scan number 4, the flip rule. This is the turning point when you actually start making real progress on your home loan. This is a time when the principal flips from being in the red to now being in the green, so that when you're making repayments, more of your repayments are going towards the principal. So if you're in your first month of your home loan and your principal is not at 50%, there will be a time that the principal flips to become 50%. On a regular home loan, the flip often doesn't happen until after 15 years. And a lot of the time, it's not till 18 years later. So you're making repayments, and it's not until you reach year 18 that you actually start paying more towards your principal than interest. If I'm looking at my repayments and the portion going towards principal, if it's not at 50%, I look for when the flip happens. When will I reach 50% going towards principal rather than interest? The last top thing that I look for is number 5, the totals. At this point, you jump forward in time. You look at the end of your home loan, and there's 2 things I look for here. Number 1, I look for the total cost. How much is the whole home loan going to cost me at the end of the home loan? And the second thing I look for is the interest. How much interest in total am I going to pay after the full life of the home loan? So the 5 things that I look for when I am looking at my home loan are: where do I sit on the principal to interest split? Am I meeting the 50% rule? What does the split look like in the first month of my home loan? When does the flip happen? And what are the total costs of the whole home loan and interest at the end of the home loan? So you might be wondering, how do I find this information? How do I actually look at this for my own home loan? And if you've seen the usual home loan calculators, they don't give you this information. You have to work it out for yourself. Or do you? If you're a regular here, you would have already got our home loan calculator. It's free, by the way. And I built this calculator because I wanted this information. I wanted to build the calculator that would give me this information rather than having to figure it out every single time I opened a different home loan calculator. However, if you like this calculator, and I know that some of you do because I've been getting messages like, I love this genius calculator, or I now understand what to look for. If you love this calculator, you're about to be in for a real treat, because I've turned this calculator into an app. And not only have I turned it into an app, I've made it even better. If you thought the calculator was good, you're gonna love this. I'm obsessed with this app. Now here's how to get it. If you got our home loan calculator, you will get priority access to this app, and I'll send you an email with early access. If you haven't already got the calculator, comment below with the word calculate or check the link in the description, and you'll be given priority access when it drops as well. Going back to our top 5, if you're looking at our top 5 things to look out for, this will put you ahead of majority of other home buyers out there, because they're not thinking about this. They're not thinking about the long-term impacts of their home loan, and this will make you a very savvy borrower. In the meantime now, I'll show you how to spot my top 5 scans in the calculator that we have available right now. So open up the calculator and head to the second calculator, which is the How Long calculator. You can get there by clicking on the tab at the bottom of the page, by clicking the How Long green button on the home page, or by clicking on the how long white button on the right hand side of the home page. I'm just going to click on the white button right now. So let's imagine that we're borrowing $500,000 and we're repaying $3,000 a month, and the interest rate is at 6%. And let's zoom in a bit so we can see this a little bit better. We can see that this will take us 30 years to pay off. The first thing to look for is the principal to interest split of our repayment. Now, we're going to look at the first month already. So we're getting ahead of ourselves. So we want to know from our repayments how much is going towards principal and how much is going towards interest. And if we have a look at the first month of our home loan, we can see that the principal portion is 17% and the interest portion is 83%. So we've got the percentage principal. We then go to the second. So the second thing I look at is how close is this principal to 50%. We can see that from our repayments, the principal portion is very low, it's at 17%. So we are already not meeting the 50% rule. That's okay. When will it flip? If we're looking at the 50% rule, when will it flip? So we can find the flip if we scroll down. And so we have a breakdown of the home loan schedule underneath. And we've got two breakdowns. One is by year and one is by month. You can look at either one. It doesn't really matter. If you want to be more specific, look at months. So I'm going to go down to months. And in column G, it gives us the percentage of the principal repayment. So we can see that starts off, it's 17%. And then over time, it is moving up. Now we want to get all the way to 50%. When does it flip to 50%? And it flips to 50% at 222 months in. Now, what is 222 months? There's a little bit of a clue about how many years it is up here. So what is 222 months? It's longer than 18 years. It's taken longer than 18 years to get to 50%. Okay, we already know now what this home loan looks like. It's going to take a long time to pay off at $3,000 a month. Let's have a look at what the total cost is going to cost us and how much interest we're going to pay overall. So we scroll back to the top. In the table that is shaded green, we have the total interest and the total principal and the total cost paid. So the total cost overall of this $500,000 home loan is over $1 million, and the total interest is at about $580,000, so more than we borrowed in the first place. Now this calculator is set up so that you can compare a different scenario. So the idea is to look at how much principal you're paying on your repayments, especially in the first month of your repayments, and when will the flip happen. If you want to dive a little bit further into each repayment and what it looks like each month and each time you make a repayment, we can have a look at that now. If we scroll down again to the home loan schedule. So what you'll often see in a home loan calculator is that there is a table underneath with a whole heap of numbers. And in our calculator, we've got two different versions. We've got one looking at each year and one looking at each month. Generally, what you will find is that the home loan schedule is set up by the number of payments that you make, which in this case, we'd be looking at months. So we'd scroll down a little bit further to see what that looks like. So normally in a home loan schedule, the number of rows that you see is based on the number of repayments that you'll make over the full life of the loan. So if you're paying monthly, for example, you'll see that there are the number of months that you'll be paying a home loan off for the number of years you are taking your home loan out for. So in a 30-year home loan, 30 years times 12 months per year is 360 months. So you will see a list of 360 repayments. So if I scroll down and look at each month, you'll see that there are 360 months in total in this example, because this example relates to a 30-year home loan. Let's go back to the top of this table, and in a home loan schedule, you'll see the loan amount for that month, what it is at the start of the month. You'll see how much you'll be repaying in interest, how much you repay in principal, and the percentage of principal and interest. So in this example, column B shows the month that you're looking at. Column C shows you the loan amount at the start of the month. Column E shows you the interest that you will pay on the home loan that month. Column F shows you the principal that you'll pay on that home loan in that month. So this is the principal and interest split given to you again. And then in column G, you'll see the percentage of principal. In our calculator here, I've also included the amount of interest that is accumulating over time, and you'll find that in column H. And you'll also see the amount of principal that is accumulating over time, and you'll see that in column I. So what you'll notice is that at the beginning of your home loan, in the very first month, the principal portion will be lower than at the end of your home loan. So in this example, it's starting off at about 17%, and that's about $500 going towards principal per repayment and about $2,500 going towards interest. What you'll see over time is that the principal portion will increase over time. The interest will decrease over time if you're paying your home loan off. If it's interest only, that might not happen. And it will also only happen if the interest rate does not change. So for example, if the interest rate increases during the life of your loan, your interest repayments will increase as well. Over time, you will also see that the principal portion will be increasing over time as well, together with the percentage of principal going to your repayments. So if we scroll down, you'll see that the principal percentage increases, the principal repayment increases, and the interest repayment decreases over time until you get all the way down to the end of your home loan, and at which point, in the very last month of your loan, your principal repayments should be at around 90 something percent. In this case, it's 99.9%. And the interest that we're paying in the last month of the home loan is just $3.70. So the interest repayments have decreased, the amount that you're paying towards principal is much higher, and the percentage of principal is much higher as well. Now, I did mention in column H, this was the interest, the amount of interest that you've paid overall on the home loan accumulating each month. You can see that at the end of the home loan, that very last repayment shows you how much you've paid in interest altogether. If you scroll back up again, you can even choose milestones to see what does it look like at the end of the first year. What does it look like in the 5th year, for example? So at the end of the first year, in the 12th month, we've paid $30,000 roundabout in interest, and we've paid off on the home loan about $6,000. So we can see we've paid a lot in interest over the full year and not so much on the actual home loan. So at the end of year 1 and at the start of the 2nd year, because the end of year 1, 12th month relates to what the home loan is at the start of the home loan. Let's go to the 2nd year, have a look at month 13. We can also see that at the start of the second year, our new home loan will still be pretty high. So we took out a home loan of $500,000 and we still have almost $494,000 left to pay after the first year. So use this in a way to have a look at different milestones. What does it look like at the end of the first year? What does it look like at the end of the 5th year, 10th year, etc.? Have a think about, what are you interested in looking at? What do you want to know about your home loan? So now you know what to look for. You look for your repayments and how much of a percentage of your repayments are going towards principal. Once you know that, then you can look at when does it flip to be 50% if it's not already at 50%. And then you might be wondering, well, how can I nudge that principal closer to 50%? And that's when it can really start to get interesting. If you want priority access to our app, or you want the calculator right now, comment below with the word calculate or click the link in the description. Get savvy with your home loan and see you again in just a minute.